Well, good morning, everyone. Today we begin a new devotional series that's going to be on the topic called Heaven. Heaven. And this is a topic that we're going to be looking at because heaven is a topic that we rarely preach on or teach on in the church today. And I'm thinking that if we were ever to pick up and to move to another country, do we just get up and take a plane and go? Is that what we do? No, I don't think so. We will set to find out everything that we can find out about that country. Do they speak English? What about their economy? What about their culture? What about their customs? What do I need to do to prepare to go to that new country, especially if I'm going to be going there for a long period of time? Do they take our Canadian money at par? What's the COVID-19 outbreak like there? Is it high danger zone? You see, that's what we would do. And so if you happen to be a Christian, what do you know about heaven? Really, what could you tell a person asking you about heaven? It's a daunting question, it really is. I've been reading a book written by a pastor, and he was talking with another pastor, and he asked the other pastor, what do you think about heaven when heaven comes to your mind? And the other pastor, he said, whenever I think about heaven, I'm so very, very depressed. And so the author asked him, well, why would you feel very, very depressed? And the other pastor said, well, because I can't stand the thought of all those tedious things we will be doing, floating in the air, strumming a harp. It all just seems so boring, the other pastor said. And that's coming from a pastor. But I can tell you that his description of heaven is nowhere near accurately how the Bible portrays and paints heaven to be. No. And I can tell you, I've been in theological institutions, at least 2 theological institutions, for 7 to 8 or to 9 years. And I really cannot remember not even 1 hour of classroom discussion, learning, exploring about what the new heavens and the new earth is all about. So you see, heaven is a topic that even for pastors, for elders, for deacons, for leaders, for servants, for everyday Christians or visitors to the church, sometimes heaven is definitely not on our radar. And I think that Jonathan Edwards said it best, and I want to quote him. He said, "Why should we labor for or set our hearts on anything else but which is our proper end and true happiness," unquote. Jonathan Edwards preached and taught a lot about heaven. I've been doing devotions and reflections through a book by Randy Alcorn called Heaven. And Randy Alcorn says that most misconceptions about heaven really has to do with spiritual warfare. And he says that, the work of Satan, whom Jesus called the father of lies, it's because Satan was evicted from heaven, and Satan cannot stand the thought of we who are children of God replacing or being entitled to the very place that he was evicted from. And so we who are children of God, what is the new heavens and the new earth really like? What does the Bible say about heaven? And so I want to take a direct quote from the Bible, and Paul puts it and paints it so beautifully about our calling to know more about heaven. And he says in Colossians chapter 3, verse 1, Paul says this, "If then you have been raised with Christ, seek or set your hearts on the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God." You see, this is a direct command for us to set our hearts and to set our minds on heaven. And so for the next 9 or 10 weeks or so, that is exactly what we will do on our Wednesday midweek short devotional thoughts. To long for Jesus Christ is to long for heaven. And let us continue to long for Him and to long for this better place, or to long for this perfect place where we will not be in the presence of sin or darkness or evil, or in the midst of this pandemic outbreak all around this world. I hope that you will join us and tune in next Wednesday as we begin to dive more deeply into this most beautiful topic of heaven. Amen. Amen.